Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Is everybody good today? Yeah? Okay. Well, I am going to do some fun stuff today. We are going to make a card. We're going to talk about some of my favorite products that I've seen this year. When I started making this list, I have so many, so I'm sure that we'll probably have a whole separate live for this that will also just go over favorite products, because there's been a lot of new things that came out this year that are really exciting and have really changed the way that I craft. So I am so excited to show those to you. Today I have some cards from Papertrey Ink is where the supplies came from, but you can use any die cuts that you want. And we are going to make those. And what I made them as is so that you could remove an ornament, so that you could give them like a handmade gift. So before we pop in, I see Nancy's here. Thank you. I'm so glad to see people. Make sure y'all are popping in the chat. And tell me how you think, if you can hear me fine. That's always helpful when I'm getting started. The chat is a little bit delayed, and if it really goes crazy, I may miss a couple things, so feel free to ask a couple of times if you need to. But we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to show you a card for upcoming thing. So here is the card that we are going to look at today. So this is an ornament right here. Okay, I'm going to take it completely off so that you can see it. And of course, I'm going to put this on my underneath camera too. I actually may switch to that really quick just to show you. Let's see, I've kind of got it off to the side, but look, it's an ornament card, okay? So it's got two sides to it. You don't have to have any fancy dies. It is very easy to do, and we're going to make this today while we're talking. Now, couple of announcements. I'm going to go back to my face real quick. Couple of announcements. The Stress-Free Card Making Summit starts this weekend. I'm going to pop up a little graphic for it just because it's fun. Okay, and then I'm just going to say it starts this weekend. Last day to get a free ticket is today. Here's what we're making there. I'm doing a class on different ways to heat emboss, and we are making this card that talks about lots of different ways to heat emboss. I'll show you that one underneath my camera too. I know this is still a little crooked, but look at all of this sparkle. Super fun. So I'm going to be having a whole class on that. I'll be live again from the Stress-Free Card Making Summit this weekend at about 3 o'clock on Saturday. So I hope I get to see some of you there. Hi from Iowa. That's so exciting. I don't know if you know, but I used to live in Iowa for just like 18 months. Everybody there is so sweet and so nice. So let me show you a couple of these ornament cards to kind of get you inspired. Then I'm going to show you one of my favorite things, and then we'll kind of like spread those throughout the live, okay? So the other thing I was going to tell you that's coming up soon is I hope to hit 15K. And when I do, it is going to be a celebration. We are going to have giveaways. I'm going to have sponsors. It's going to be really fun. So just make sure you've hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're all signed up for my newsletter. That helps you get the information quickest. And then let me show you these two cards for today. I'm going to move this camera back over. See if I can get my face back in the camera. I'll try to get that one nice and lined up. Okay, and then we're going to switch here. Okay, I'm trying to get the hang of these things, Hi, Debbie. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get this nice and even, and let me show you the cards that I did today for this inspiration. I just showed you this one. Okay, this is my little one. It's just die cuts and a little bit of ink blending. We're going to do some heat embossing, but it's so simple, and you can just take this off, and it's a little present for somebody for Christmas. I just think that's super exciting. There's always those people who you want to get like a little something for, and I'm going to show you some different ways we could do this. We could probably put a gift card in there, all kinds of stuff. So we'll play with that. The other one that I did for today's release from Papertrey Ink is this one. And this one I did some stitching on. And stitching takes a while, but I really feel like it makes your handmade cards it just makes them so special if somebody knows that you took the time to do that, and sometimes people who aren't card makers don't understand what the rest is. So this one just says to from have yourself a merry little Christmas. I thought this also could be an amazing like gift tag, But how cool is that? We can just attach it to a card, got a pretty simple background, and you have an ornament. So here's kind of what I made for today's release today and what we're going to redo. I don't know why that stopped. Sorry, my camera stopped. We're working on it. I thought I had the tech all together. Here, we'll go back here. We'll go here for now. And let me take my extra face off there. Okay, so okay, there it goes. I think it came back. I don't know why it likes to do that. We may have some little tech issues today. I don't know if any of y'all are in the South, but we are having quite the storm, and it is only getting worse. So if for some reason I lose you guys today, I will be back, and we will either, if I can't get back on Wi-Fi for some reason with the storm, then we'll continue this next week. But let's get right into one of my favorite products. If you've been in lives with me, you have probably seen this product, but I have to show it again because it's Christmas time, you know, and people, and I know it's so big, okay, but this is the trimmer that I am obsessed with, okay? So this thing moves so that you can hold your cardstock. It's actually metal, and it holds the cardstock right there. Let me put, now that somehow I'm back here, hang on. Okay, I'll put myself back in there. So now that it holds it so much better, and it's a rotary, so it does this, okay? And I like that you can kind of come back and forth. I have a special discount code for this. So if you were thinking about it for your Christmas, it is made, I believe, in England. I think they have a warehouse here in the US as well. They have a US site, but it is the best, and they've got replacements for everything. So I just wanted to show you that if you're making your Christmas list, that if you needed a nice trimmer, that trimmer is quite the workhorse, okay? So when I started with this card, I wanted to keep it very simple. So here is what I did. I went on and die cut so that you could see what these pieces are like. Die cut 2 pieces, okay? What I like about these is the different shape. Okay, so it's nice sometimes to have a shape that is unusual. I feel like this could be an ornament this way, could be an ornament this way. You could also just take a regular circle. I mean, you have so many options here to create these cards. But what I did is I did some stamping. So we'll do a little stamping. I did mine with embossing powder because I want to make sure that it doesn't smear or rub off. And I'm going to show you kind of a couple little tips and tricks on that. This one we did in, and I know the back's crazy, this one is in white embossing, okay? So let's get some of these stamped. Do we have questions? Anybody got any concerns? Anything been going on that you want to talk about? And also, is anybody out there in the South who's experiencing this storm at all? Anybody? Okay, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so the background of this right here is just going to be green. I'm going to add a little bit of black soot to it. I did a little bit of just some dripping of acrylic white paint. And then this one is just red cardstock. Now, I will say these red cardstocks are one of the best. I love them. I know I just paused there, sorry. I'm just going to have to occasionally do that with the Wi-Fi. So this red cardstock is from Gina K, and Gina K has this cardstock called Cherry. And if you can find it anywhere, hoard it. It is the best red. Look at how beautiful that looks. I mean, that's just the perfect Christmas red. I love it. I would love suggestions in the chat if y'all have found another great red cardstock. This one, I am down to 1 piece. So I was just really not liking the fact that I can't find it, but I know it's going to come back in stock, and it's definitely worth getting. Oh, I see some people in Atlanta. Oh, I think Atlanta's getting even worse part of the storms than we are. So I'm going to grab my plate and, oh, how big was that trimmer? Yes. Okay, so that was the RotaTrim 13. So it's 13 inches. I know it's huge. The only thing that'll fit in my camera space is having, let me try to show it to you a couple different ways. So that's upside down. It's called the Monorail 13, but if you can see, it's a pretty good size. It's definitely heavy. It's got some nice feet on it that hold it on here. Let's see if we can get those feet. It's got feet on there that hold it really well. Just really nice if you have trouble making those perfect cuts. Oh my goodness, I love it for that. Okay, I see. Okay. Alrighty. So Lisa said she's headed to Auburn. Okay, but not raining. So Auburn is in Alabama. If you don't know that, but Auburn is in Alabama. My husband actually went to Auburn. Okay, so let's look at what kind of stamps we're going to use. I'm going to use these. These are also from the new Papertrey Ink. If you haven't seen that company, it's a cute little company. They do lots of really fun stamps. They do lots of Bible verse stamps too. And this is kind of one of, I've worked with them a couple times, but this is kind of new to me. And I'm really loving, like, I love that little Santa. That guy is adorable. And this is what I'm going to use to create the belt. I also wanted to show you that using other stamps in your stash, like this little stripe thing, can really make your background look pretty cool. Look at this. So on this one, the background, it's going to take it a second, sorry. The background is this stamp right here with heat embossing. Let me try to show you how sparkly it is. So I did a little bit of ink blending and then I did this stamp across it. And I'm gonna tell you a quick little trick just because I was pretty amazed at coming up with this trick myself. Y'all do that? Sometimes you just surprise yourself and you're like, oh, that's such a good idea. I used this and used the stripes on this plaid right here and just made little tick marks so that I could keep my lines in a pattern. Because sometimes I'm not sure about the spacing of lines and making them look good. And so I went through and I traced this and then I stamped on top of it. Okay, so super cool. So if you're running late, you're just joining in, no worries. We're about to make a card with these ornament cards. We have talked about the Stress-Free Card Making Summit, which I'm going to be doing a class this weekend with. And we've talked about this card, which we're about to make. Okay, so let me grab my stamp thing. Okay, so I'm going to be using the stamp wheel. Has anybody gotten one of these yet? Gotta have a little sip of water. See, Minnesota. Okay, this is a sticky mat, okay? So what's nice about that is that you can stick your piece to it and it stays, which is really nice. I am gonna go ahead and powder my piece because we're gonna heat emboss. So there's lots of different powder tools out there, and when you're using a sticky mat, I would say move your mat over before you start powdering, or else you're gonna end up with a non-sticky mat. You know, it's like, so I'm gonna use this one. This one has stuff come out a lot faster. It's cat scrappiness. I don't know if she's gonna keep making these or not, but I really wanna get this nice and coated so that I keep it looking good. So I'm gonna coat it really well. How many of you out there are heat embossers? Do y'all like to heat emboss? Okay, and then I'm going to put it down here. We're going to look at our little belt. Okay. The other thing that has been on my, like, you've probably seen it in almost every video I have, is a sticky mat. I cannot believe, like, what did we do before sticky mats existed, you know? They are amazing. So I love using a sticky mat for stencils. I love using it for stuff like this in my stamp wheel. It just makes me so happy. And so once you get your thing laid out here, I'm not gonna be super perfect, but I'm gonna try to get this lined up as good as I can. Let's move his little belt to the middle. My stamp wants to stick. But my favorite is the big sticky mat from Altenew. You've probably seen it. It kind of looks like this grid. And I think it's 9 by 12. So we may use that if we do any ink blending, but since I'm stamping, I'm gonna use my stamp wheel. Now, I don't know how many of you like to do black heat embossing. I do not like to do black heat embossing. I like to use a clear over a really dark ink, and for a couple reasons. One, it tends to save me worrying about getting black pieces everywhere. At least when I get pieces there, they are clear. and that kind of helps out. But I also just love this black ink. I love the color of it, and I feel like it's just as easy to use this for my stamping. Now, you don't have to emboss this, but like I said, if you're going to use it like a tag or a Christmas ornament, it's just always safer to make sure that you don't have any transfer of that ink for the person who's getting it. Do y'all make a lot of homemade Christmas cards for your friends and family? Yeah. Okay. All right, did it again. There we go. Okay, so I'm sorry that we still have little glitches. So I'm going to do this a few times with my black ink, and that's just to get it as dark as I can. What I love about this little stamp set is that the buckle is different and it leaves a little open space for that buckle. I probably need to re-ink my little black here. I did not do that in prep. Hey, April, is Texas getting any of this storm? Oh, Nancy makes like 50 cards for Christmas. I think I probably make about that many too. I definitely like to make them for family and people who appreciate them. And I love it when there's like an extra option. Like it could be a gift card holder, or it could be an ornament like this. I just think people love that. And I mean, I know there's fancier ornaments out there, but if all you have is paper crafting supplies, this is a pretty easy one to do. So we're going to stamp this a couple times. I am sending out a poll too soon. I've got one on my Facebook group right now, but I'm going to be sending it out in the newsletter to see what y'all think the best time for a live is. It's kind of, you know, one of those things where usually Thursday, Fridays tend to work a little bit better for me, but I want to make sure that as many people as possible can be there. I usually can't do the evenings because of kids and family responsibilities, but a lot of times I can do while the kids are at school. So I was looking at this time on Thursdays. I was looking at Fridays around 12, 1, somewhere there. I'm also trying not to compete with big people. Like I think scrapbook.com tends to have one on Fridays. So I'm trying to be a little bit careful with that. But I was curious as to what you guys thought about the best time. Oh, April says that she doesn't think Texas is going to get any of the storm. Yeah, I know. It looks like it's really going to hit me in Tennessee pretty bad. So send up some prayers for me. Make sure we do okay. I'm going to add one more layer. Are y'all obsessive about your black like this? I am. You know, y'all know that I'm a little bit OCD and I like to get a good stamp. Plus, this gives me good ink for my embossing to stick to. Now, when I'm using clear embossing, I use a little coffee filter to catch it. I don't know how everybody else does that, but you could use paper, you could use all kinds of things. Really, there's a lot of stuff around your house you can use for heat embossing. If you don't have a heat tool, you can use your hair dryer. You know, you got lots of options. Okay, so now I'm going to add, I see this one little spot right here that's driving me crazy. Hang on. I'm gonna press on that really hard. Trying not to shake the camera for you guys too, because I know sometimes that's annoying. And apparently every time I shake it, it tries to pause on me, so. Oh, yay. Okay, West Coast, so this is an easy time for you. That's good to know. Okay, let's take this. We're gonna heat emboss it. I do need y'all to tell me when I start heat embossing, this microphone is new to me, so I don't know if it cancels noise or not. If it is not canceling the noise and it's too much on the embossing for you, please just like throw up an emoji so that I can see it fast. Like maybe throw me like a red alarm or no, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. But we're going to try it and we'll see how it goes. And if we can't heat emboss live, then we can't heat emboss live. But see how good that powder does? Look, it's got just that area, and then I'm going to show you. And the thing that Papertrey does with their stamps is they kind of make it look distressed. You see how it's got like little spots that aren't going to be black? I kind of like that. It's like, it's a little different look for me, and I like it. So I'm going to hold on to this, do a little bit of blowing, tapping, and then we're going to get this heat tool going. Okay, I'm going to start with the heat tool over here. Tell me, I'm watching the chat to see if you think that's too much, too little. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to bring it closer. So when I heat emboss, I do forward, backward. I'm trying to keep the paper from warping. So I tend to kind of go back and forth like this. And then I look and make sure I've gotten all the parts. But don't keep the heat on it until I'm sure. Okay, so there, look how shiny that little belt looks. Okay, so how was that on the heat embossing, everybody? Was that too much? Was it okay? I'm trying to see. Oh, really? Kathleen can't even hear the heat embossing, so my microphone must cancel out background noise, which is amazing. Let's try that again and we'll see. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's good to know. I was hoping that was the case, but you know, it's really hard to test these things without being live. It doesn't always work the same if you're just recording, so I wasn't quite sure. All right, now let's do our belt buckle. I'm gonna need to, there it is. So one thing about having a clear plate is sometimes I put it down and I can't figure out where I put it. So what are y'all using to clean stamps these days? I'm using this little Gina K towel, and I forgot to get it wet before I started the live, so I'm gonna get it wet real quick, and then I'm gonna clean this off and just get it better. But it's, you know, these things are real stiff, so. All right, I'm gonna clean that, and then I'm gonna get my buckle out here. That's squeaky too. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. So if you are just joining, we have been talking a little bit about just making our Christmas cards and all that fun stuff. We also have been talking about the Stress-Free Card Maker Summit. We've been talking about my favorite things, which so far we're at Sticky Mat and this paper trimmer that I love from RotaTrim. If y'all have specific questions about that trimmer, I will always, I'll get on a call with you if you want me to or something and talk to you about it, because it is really quite amazing. I don't know why I didn't discover it until I did. And I use it all the time. Okay, so got our little belt buckle. I'm gonna go ahead and pick him up and add just a little bit more powder to this embossing. And then when I start building this, I want you to tell me what you think, if you think that you should, give me ideas on how you would build it. I'm going to show you how I build it, but I'm going to get you some ideas on how you would build it. And once again, that little spot's frozen. I'm working on it. Okay, there we go. All right, so we got here. Now I'm going to do gold. This is a really nice bright gold. It's called polished gold. And it's super fine, which is nice. So I'm going to use that one for my belt buckle. I am going to add a little bit more powder around it just to be safe. And then I've already got my stamp set up. So this one I'm going to do with clear ink, and then we'll have our little buckle. Now, one thing too, I will say in the chat, tell me too, do you want to make the other side? I can go through what I stamped it with. I can stamp it here, or we can start assembling it to show you how I put it together and my ideas on that. I have a lot of ideas for ways that you could use this. Okay, so let's get our little belt buckle. This one I only need to stamp once because that embossing ink stays, it doesn't need to be a certain color, and it stays nice and wet. So we'll do our gold. Okay, Lisa says she is in need of a trimmer. I just kind of I just need one. This one's a good stable one, and I'm just impressed that it makes the same cut and that I don't accidentally lose my paper. When I'm doing the guillotine trimmers, you know, you kind of have to press on that piece of paper to hold it there, and sometimes that gets a little bit crazy. We're gonna heat about this. So Kathleen says, let's just assemble. I'm gonna kind of show y'all what I did with assembling. And it's gonna look a little janky, but nobody's gonna be able to tell except us. Okay, there's our gold. Beautiful. Just love how that looks. I don't know, it's just adorable. I think a little kid would love that. I think it would work for everybody. Okay, so to assemble, let me grab from back here. I don't know if y'all have seen me use this before or not, but this is a double-sided foam adhesive that is my go-to. I know there's other ones out there. This has just got a great price point, And so I use it on lots of cards. And then what pieces I don't use, I keep as my foam tape. So I cut down my little pieces. Those are my extra pieces of that, and just keep them in a little container as my foam pieces. So for this, you could cut out a circle of this foam. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a circle with my scissors, okay? Because I don't wanna have to shake the table. So I just generally, as long as we got it, we'll do kind of about the size, and then we'll go cut from there. And it is a little sticky, so. You can kind of see how firm it is. See how firm that is? I can bend it, but it's pretty hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this down into a circle, and it's gonna look like a janky circle. I don't profess to be the best circle cutter in the world. But we're gonna have our little spot that holds this together, okay? So let's see how I did there with that. Hang on to your extra pieces. You'll be able to use them again. Let's see how we did. Can we see any part of it? Hey, that's pretty good for a first cut, don't you think? Yeah, nice. Okay, so Cece says she has the Tim Holtz Rotary trimmer and loves it for heavier materials. Now, this is probably the heaviest material that I tend to cut. I don't do a whole lot of chipboard or anything like that, but this stuff cuts fine with the trimmer. So I just took off one side of the adhesive. We're gonna place this and try to keep this as flat as we can, okay? So flat, see how nice and flat that does? Beautiful, okay. Now let's grab my other piece. So for this one, I'm gonna leave it blank, but you could even write on it. It could be like a little nice message to a person. I thought one idea I had, and I think I'm actually gonna do this for people, is I'm gonna print out a picture. You know how a lot of times you send those cards to family that have your family's picture on it? I think I'm gonna print out pictures, because those cards themselves are like $2 or $3 each, I feel like, and I could just print one and have more fun making the card. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do. So now it's just a matter of lining up. Now, since this is a double-sided adhesive, if you are worried about getting this second piece lined up, then you can always put glue on it, okay? So I'm just gonna use my Barely Arts glue right here. And I'm gonna add, and this just allows me to slide it around a little bit. You don't have to do a ton. I'm just trying to get some movement on my foam. So if y'all are making Christmas cards, are you already done, or are you still working on it? And I saw somebody said 2 to 3 Eastern time would be great. Okay. How does 2 to 3 Eastern time work out for the other side of the country on Friday? So I'm kind of just adjusting. This always, for some reason in the lives, my hands get a little shaky. Doing my best to keep that pretty even. We're pretty close. You may need to hold it down and make sure it's nice. Okay, good, good. Now, one thing too, before you put this on, you can always put your ribbon down in there. Inside this, which, did I do that? Yeah, okay, on this one I did, but I got too excited in the live and went on and squished it together. But I went on and grabbed my ribbon, which I need to grab. Let me look and see if I got any ribbon close. Yeah. Okay, let's say we were doing this. The way that I did it, you could tie a bow if you wanted, but I just did a loop because I want to hang this loop on the back side of the card. So you could unattach, I know, maybe not now, or you could put, I could possibly even glue it down in here, but let's see. I probably should have done that first, sorry. Yeah, you could probably glue it right there too. And then you've got your loops, which this one we probably need about this much. So in general, I would say normally put that thing down in there with that sticky stuff. And then you have your loop, okay? So you got your loop right here. And if you see what I did a bigger piece and I'm gonna loop it over the back, okay? So this part's not attached to my card anywhere, okay? It's free flowing so that you can take it off, okay? And with this particular die, this actually has like a little bit of lift right here. Like you could thread, I know this isn't the right kind of ribbon, but you could thread this through, and really all you would even have to do is just put some ribbon over your thing. I mean, how cute is that? So you can thread this part through if you want to as well. It's got a little bit. Tracy said something like she couldn't hear what? You couldn't hear tips on adhesive? Okay. All right, I'm gonna take this one off so that we can kind of do the rest of the card. So with the rest of this, here's what we did. I went on, and because it is technically a card, I went on and put a sentiment down here because I thought that, you know, if somebody was just looking at this and didn't realize that there's also a sentiment on the back, that they might think it was kind of a strange card. It just seemed like it needed that. Hey, Avi, how are you? All right, so here's kind of where we are. I'm gonna show you how I added this, what I call spotlight effect right here, and then we will attach to the card, or at least show you how this one's attached. How about that? So that other favorite product I'm talking about is, oh, okay. Oh, sorry, Tracy, you couldn't hear the heat tool. Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear me now. Okay, let me grab something. Here is the biggest of those sticky mats from Altenew. Yes, mine looks like, it looks rough. I wish it would just stay clean, you know? Like, it would be nice if this just stayed clean, you didn't have to do anything. So this card is green from Gina K. I think it's called Christmas Pine. Does that sound right to everybody? If you're a Gina K fan. All right, so what I did with this one, which let me put my glue tip back or I'm gonna end up with dried out glue here. Oh, by the way, this glue tip, I don't know which one of you told me, but it is so nice to use a magnetic thing for that glue tip, and then I don't lose it. And y'all, I was having it in my mouth and everything, and just all kinds of stuff. So I've been using this little magnet right here and just popping it on there, and it'll stick to this when I am crafting, so I don't have to have it in my mouth, which is good. So with paper that you don't know what color matches, so this is Christmas Pine. I'm sure Gina K has something that would match this right, but generally black soot works for everything. Okay, black soot, if it's a dark color cardstock, I have found that I can always make that shadow effect with it. So I'm gonna use this brush, and I'm just going to come in from the sides, okay? I'm going to do this slowly and just start making that effect, okay? Now, when you're blending, I will say blending on colored cardstock is a little bit different than blending on something like a smooth cardstock. So just be careful. I always go kind of slow because I don't want to get a big spot, but can you already tell the difference in these two corners and how much a difference that makes? It's amazing. This is like if you owned only one Distress Oxide, black soot is my most used. I use this all the time to create these effects on cards. Okay, see how that does? And you can see a little bit of the strokes because it's not a perfectly smooth cardstock, but just get the idea. Trust me, it looks so good in person, and it kind of settles in and won't look quite as streaky. Plus, what we'll do is we'll take some of that ink and bring it towards the center. Oh, Cece says she's watching for local tornado warnings. Oh my goodness, I know. Well, if you ever need me to repeat, I hope that you stay safe. Cece, were you the one in Alabama or Atlanta? I know that it's coming for us. We're about 3 hours from Atlanta, so if you're getting tornado warnings, then we're next, I'm sure. So I just slowly go in and around, okay? Staying here. Now, the other trick that I love with colored cards, any color, any cardstock. If you feel like your ink blending doesn't look right, just add splatter. I mean, look, if you're even sort of concerned, just add some splatter. I'm going to show you what I'm using for white splatter, and I know there's a lot of other ones out there, and I can't wait to try some of them, but it's just kind of the first one that I had that I think was recommended by Christina Warner. Y'all let me know if that's not the case. And it has been so good. Let me see if I've got it right here. So I've had this one. It's called Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Okay, and it is like a thick, mine is getting a little thick. This is probably a, you know what? I actually bought this in Iowa. This is a 4-year-old bottle, and it gets a little thicker in there, but I'm adding water to it anyway, and I still have this bottle. So definitely worth probably the $8 that you got. Avi says, are you in North Carolina? No, I am in Tennessee. So Tennessee native. We're here in Knoxville. So in Knoxville, we have some mountains that usually kind of protect us from some weather, but this time it's going to be a little bit different, I think. That's all right. I live on a road with a hospital, which usually makes power outages hopefully minimal, but it doesn't mean that the Wi-Fi and all that stuff's not going to be a problem. So we shall see how the lives go this weekend at the Stress-Free Card Maker Summit. Have any of you guys attended that, or any of y'all done that? The Stress-Free Card Maker Summit? I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it is because it's kind of interesting. It's actually a really cool idea. Let me see if anybody's been before. Oh, Cece's in South Carolina. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. I love South Carolina. It's pretty. All right, so I'm going to stop on this because, like I said, we're just kind of making, but here's generally how it looks, okay? See how there's kind of a spotlight towards the middle? I'm just going to kind of pull in my ink and make sure I've got nice blends, okay? And then you could leave it this way. This is what it's going to look like if you do. Grab yourself some fun ribbon. I just like having that white highlight because I was going to do this right here. So having that white splatter was kind of fun. So I'll tell y'all about, oh, hey, Darlene's going to the Stress-Free Card Making Summit. So this one's a little bit different than some of the other summits in that you're only allowed to use 5, so let me show you how to get paper off of this. You just bend it. So at the Stress-Free Card Making Summit, you're only allowed to use 5 things. So 5 different supplies. Now, granted, ink is a supply, so it could be lots of different inks, but it really challenges you to use what you have to try to expand what you can do with very little, which I love about it. And I'm going to be doing this card. If you weren't here earlier, I'm doing this card. This is an Altenew set. And it's got wow embossing, and I embossed 3 different ways on this to show you some different techniques. Oh, Tracy said she's attended it before. Good. All right. I just like to try to keep y'all updated on all the things that are going on out there because I don't want you to miss out on something free, especially this weekend when it's going to be rainy for a lot of us and stormy. You may want to just be in your craft room. Okay. All right. So we could find some beautiful colors. We can do some splatter. Let me find mine. So I used this Merry Christmas Greetings right here in the bottom, mainly because it fit and I liked it. All right, so Avi says, oh, she loves that ornament set. And it's really not even an ornament set. It's like just dies. Let me show you what the dies look like. It's just 2 nesting dies that I just decided look like they could be an ornament. So no big deal. Okay, so if you want to sign up for the summit, it is in my description of this video and it's free. So here's kind of where we are. As far as putting it together, like I said, you want to put your pieces inside your foam, okay? And then I'm going to show you what I did on the back. I've got 2, 3 ideas I think that you could do to attach. I would like, and mine of course is a mess because mine's just for photos, you know? When you're just doing photos for Instagram or something like that, you generally are taking a photo like this. But let me show you some ideas. I did, on this one, I taped it on just to hold it. I used a scrap piece of paper, so don't forget to use your scraps. Look, I've already heat embossed on this side of this green paper, and you would never know that I've already used the piece of paper. So especially when you're trying to conserve your good cardstock, it's always a nice idea to just keep pieces like this. This has got some sentiments on it that I decided I didn't want to use. And so here's what I did. Nice. Okay, tell me too in the, sorry. Oh, Tiffany said she's going to be presenting at the Stress Free Card Making Summit too, and she's trying to figure out what she used on the card because we make these videos so far back, and sometimes we forget like what we did. We have to go back and watch our own videos again just to make sure we know what we're talking about. Okay, so for this one, I used some. Let me show you how I did it. Now I know I've got this tape down. That's because I was taking photos, but I used 2 pieces of foam tape. Okay, and made sure that it would hook like this. Now these foam tapes are sticky on the back, they're double-sided adhesive, and I just kind of stuck it down in that groove, okay? And then I can put my card back on. The other thing I thought that would be really cool is to use something like this, but to put a little round, like you could even match with the, hang on, with the set that you're already using. So it would be really cute to have something sticking up here that had the instructions. Remove this piece of ribbon so that you can have your card, and all they have to do is remove it. So if you don't want the back to look this bad, which I would put this on a card base anyway, then you can take something, especially if you got some nesting dies, and you can cover it up, and you can do it in your handwriting. You could just, you know, see if you got any stamp that says remove. I don't know if I don't have one. I would just do it in handwriting. Plus it's to people that, you know, I'm sending Christmas cards to. They know my handwriting. I'm writing on the inside. So I think that that's kind of a cool idea, just to use extra pieces of that foam tape. And this is just scrap foam tape. Okay, like I said, scraps from those pieces of paper. And then you can attach it down here. Now, if you don't want to stick it to something, you could hook it. So you can use this same foam tape and just gently like hook things in here. It's just that it makes it kind of tall on the card. So if you make it too tall on the card, then you know your card's not going to fit where it needs to. The other idea I thought would be really cool is to make, and I'm going to grab a card and we're going to see if we can pull it off. Hang on. Is to make a card, and the reason I have this tape here is because I didn't want to uncover my double-sided adhesive until I was ready to put that on something. So let me grab a card, which I think I have laying around here. Sorry. So say we have a card base, and let's do it with this one so we can look at a different card too, so you can get some more inspiration. Sorry, I had to walk over there and get the stuff. Okay, so for this one, kind of did the same thing, but look, what if we did it on the inside of the card? So I feel like you could easily do that with a, you know, we might even be able to do it with a paper trimmer. That might work. I wonder if I could do that. I'm looking for my X-Acto knife, which I'm not seeing. But if we made 2 slits right about here, and we put or 1 slit in the middle and threaded it through, then you could do that same idea on the inside of the card, either the front or the back. So if you were doing that with a trimmer, let's see if we can do that. Let me move some stuff out of the way. Okay, tell me, are there any more? Thank you, Tiffany, for stopping by the way. How often are all of you wanting to see lives? I feel like lives are getting more popular, and I do enjoy doing them. They're a little bit of definitely some prep involved, but I do like doing them. So tell me things that you would like to see. I'm going to try to get this where I'm going to have to hold part of this thing, but I bet, could I do it in between? That's a good question. Wonder if I could just barely trim it. I don't know if I can do it with that. Let me think. It might just be easier to do it with scissors. Okay, because this is going to be covered up, so hang on. So say I go like right, if I assume that's my middle, We take ourselves a little strip here, and then we cut it out. I need my smaller scissors. Yeah, how often are y'all wanting to do some lives? I like being live with you because I can like chat and answer questions. So what if we create a little hole like this? I'm going to take this one off, and let's see if we can thread it through there. Carefully. Okay, so could we thread this through this hole? Yes, we could. So here's the other option that I was thinking. What if you thread it through the top of your thing right here? And you can still put your backing on, so you could still put this on right here. Okay, and then you've got it threaded through, and when you open the card, you've got your, hang on, I haven't got it stuck yet. You've got this right here, okay? So one, you could possibly leave it not even connected to anything right here, or you could add a little piece of tape, or you could take a little something that you want to hook it around and put like a little small, let me see what I've got here. What if we took like a little small thing, almost like a button, and made like a coordinating one? We could hang it around that pretty easily with a piece of foam tape. What do y'all think about that? You like that direction better? You like it attaching to the back of the card? How would you do it if you were putting it together? See if I can see. Yeah, Avi does that, Debbie. Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to do lives right now about once a month, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to, you know, like mix it up between card making, between doing things like the favorite crafty things. So I'm gonna do favorite crafty things next, I believe, because it is time to make our Christmas list. And I don't know if you know me, if y'all are like me, sometimes I buy my own things, but also sometimes I give a very specific list to my husband so that he can get the right thing. So, okay, yeah, so Darlene likes doing it on the inside of the card. I think that's kind of cool, you know? It's nice. And it's not, it doesn't look crazy because you've got your other thing covered. And really, if you were saving cardstock, you could always just do your ink blending on this one. It's just that you might see those little cuts. Well, no, look at that. You can't, the ribbons cover it up. So if you're careful with your cutting, you're gonna be okay. But I like the pink. I just love the pink. So I think it's kind of fun. So here. So has anybody done any cards like this before? Okay, let's look at this one. So this one could be the same thing. I also thought it'd be cool to have a brad or something stuck in, because you could put a brad through this part of your card and have it sticking out and hanging on the back right here. That would be pretty easy to do without messing up your card, because you know this is covering most of it up. It's just that if they take this off and go hang it on their tree, they're gonna have a little brad on the front. I'm guessing they would toss that part anyway, but you know how it goes. Okay, so let me tell you the third thing that is my favorite thing that's come out this year. And I'm pretty sure it was this year because this is when I started using them. It's these. Okay, these are, let's see if it'll say. Ooh, it's going to be in gold writing, which is probably going to be hard to see. Waffle Flower, I'm reading it on the camera. Waffle Flower, it's Shader 2. Let's see if this one's Shader 2 also, but I like Shader 2 and I like Shader 1, and that's just how big this brush is right here. This is the best thing to like color your stamps. So the way that I use this is if I'm going to have a stamp that I want to show that shadow effect, I usually do my darkest color on this and I bring it along the stamp, then stamp it. So these are really great brushes, and the edge on them helps you bring that ink just slightly. So it's great for your darkest color of the ink blending. And you know, look, it's a stocking stuffer. You could stuff your own stocking. How exciting is that? Yeah. Oh, Debbie gives her kids and grandkids ornaments every year, which is cool. And by the way, as a grandparent, like I'm not a grandparent yet, but I love it when grandparents do that. My mom used to do that all the time, and then she skipped a couple years. But it's really nice to have ornaments every year. It's kind of cool, especially if you made them. That's really cool. All right, so let me kind of review those three things. And I've got, popped in there what your favorite time to do a live is. Make sure you're on the email list. Make sure you signed up for the Stress-Free Card Making Summit. And I'm going to try to keep it somewhat short today, and we'll finish up. So this is the Stress-Free Card Making Summit. It'll be in the description. That's what I'm making. Let me show you those three things. And like I said, if you have questions about any of these, then you can go and just text or email me. Sorry, I'm moving the camera a little bit. And we can discuss those trimmers, because they are a little different, not something you've probably seen before, and they are definitely a little pricey, but I really love it. And so I can't deny that I love it. And I've got a coupon for 10% off down in the description. You can sign up for that, all that stuff. I've put all my products in the description today. I am on top of it. Let's see what else. We've got that. Any questions or any other thing? We've got all these cards here today. You've got an idea now how to do them. And I think that is about it. I'm going to see if anybody else. Okay, yay, somebody signed up for the summit. That's good. Okay, let me pop in here so that you can see real quick what that is called. It's called the Stress-Free Card Making Summit. I would love to see you there. And I hope to see y'all live again this weekend. So I'm going to be live this weekend at 11 for Card Wars in the Summit, and I'm going to be live at 3 on their YouTube channel, just talking about my project, which is this one. I hope that y'all will get to see it too. Thank you so much. I had fun. Any last questions, concerns, anything? I hope you will try making some ornament cards. They are super fun, and I had a great time with them. All this is in the new release from Papertrey Ink, which is out on their website right now, and the links are in the description. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, April. I'm so glad to have all of you. I will see you again soon, and we'll do another live and get our Christmas list together, okay? Have a great day. Bye.